Good afternoon. Nobody really likes being called a goody-goody. When I was young and growing up, that was kind of a terrible thing to be called. You didn't want to be seen as the rule follower. Nobody wanted to be known as the teacher's pet. Out at recess, if you were obeying what the teachers were asking you to do, or if you were listening to them when they told you to come in, then everybody kind of made fun of you, and they thought that you were the one that was just the straight-laced person, the person who wouldn't do anything wrong ever. That was always a bad thing to be called. And as you get into adulthood, it doesn't get much better. No one wants to be known as that person who's just always following every single rule, never doing anything wrong, never breaking any laws or doing something that would harm another person or reputation. It's just, we want to be known as people who are willing to disobey a little bit, who are willing to get our hands dirty a little bit, even if we don't really want to get into that much trouble. It just seems like no one wants to be known as that straight-laced person who never does anything wrong, the goody-goody. And yet, when we become Christians, God expects us to be perfect. Perfect every single day, every single moment. He never wants us to sin even once. That's His expectation. That is what it takes to be right before God. That's the ultimate in being a goody-goody. And that's what God demands of every single person. Of course, that is something that we can't achieve. We can't live up to that kind of demand and that kind of expectation. We're never going to be able to achieve it. What Jesus has done for us is given us that perfection. He was the ultimate in goody-goodies. He was the one who lived according to God's commands perfectly, and He gives that to you. He calls you righteous because of what He has done. But sometimes that righteousness that we have, sometimes that way in which we try to live according to what God says, can actually have people making fun of us, can actually have people accusing us of being a goody-goody. And so what God says to us that helps us to get through that is in Matthew chapter 5, verse 10. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, because theirs is the kingdom of heaven. You know, if somebody calls you a goody-goody, if somebody calls you straight-laced and a rule follower, you know what God says? That's okay. He says that's okay because yours is the kingdom of heaven. When you are obeying and listening and following the rules because of Jesus, because you know what He has done for you, then that's what God says is the right thing to do. And yours is the kingdom of heaven. Until we see each other again, the Lord's blessings on your day.